It's a blood clot vibes, yes, family life of yourself. Big up yourself, it's your host, Sila Shalom, chiming in on the ones and twos. You know how we do. It's a vibes. Yes, family, pick up yourself, life, pick yourself. You know how we do. It's a blood clot vibes. You know we have to run the rhythm. Selector. Real up selector, the idea them saying in the Caribbean. Yeah, it's the vibes. Boy, Sila Shalom, chiming in on the ones and twos. You know how we do. You know how we do. You know how we do. It's a party. Roll up your lighter. Pull up with a lighter. Roll up with a split. Drink Uno Guinness. Uno Guinness Stout. Uno Heineken. Uno water. Come with your sober mind. Come with your intoxicated mind. We're not business. You dig? Regardless, the light shall shine forth in the darkness and come out triumphant. I see the fam chiming in. What up, family? See the family chiming in. We got in the building. We got in the building. That DZ, I see you. Israel, I see you. Snoopy, I see you. What's good? Kayla in the building. Nima in the building. Still apart. I see the family chiming in. It's a Bob Elijah. I see you, Nina. I see the family chiming in. Yes, family. One question, can you speak on what's that? One question, can you speak on homosexuality, please? Thanks. Oh, wait. Shit, what is there to speak on? You know what I mean? It's like, shit, I let them niggas have their own rule. I don't really touch on that shit. You know what I mean? I ain't got too much to say about the homosexuals. Other than that, you know, homosexuality is dealing with the lower vibrational spirit. You're dealing with more of the carnal and the lust factor. You know what I'm saying? So if you have homosexuality, homosexuals, when they cross over in spirit and haven't changed their ways, they're going to be in spirit with that behavior, that attitude, and that inspiration to return back on mortals. You dig? Not mine. And the Owaspy calls those lusters. Lusters, those who lust after the flesh. Those are drudges, spirits vibrating in a low frequency, you dig? It's a blood clot vibes. You know what I mean? And this is an open chat. This is an open chat. Whoever want to come in and speak, it's an open session tonight. I ain't got no particular topic. I'm gonna come back with the questions of the gods, but I just want to go live and just have an open session of vibe and no particular topic. Of course, the topic is always dealing with spirituality, history, cosmology, and things of that nature. Yes, family. You know what I mean? As I touched on the last vid, talking about the promised land deception. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to show you how you got to question these gods, my nigga. You just can't be believing in this shit. I'm going to put a link in the chat if anybody want to come in. Anybody want to come in the chat, me have to leave a link in the chat. And you could come in. We could build. If you believe in the Bible, if you believe in the God of Israel, if you believe in the biblical God, you could come defend the God. I mean, we could raise some questions about the laws of God. You know what I mean? They go to link in the chat. Anybody want to jump in this blood, please? Because it's a vibes. We just vibing out. Shout out to Pam with the early morning sword session. Shout out Pam, awaken to the truth, dropping that knowledge every morning. You know what I mean? It's just the vibes today. My Lord, words sounding power. That's right. Word sounding power. Rastaman vibes, yeah? Rastaman deal with word sounding power, aya. You dig? So, anybody want to come in the chat? It's an open sword session. We out here. You dig? Nazarene faith is Messiah sister. Yes. You know how we do. You know how we do. Yeah, so, coming back to these gods, man, I got to question these gods because you see how I'm exposing the gods, and by exposing the gods, it's exposing the behavior of the people. You know what I mean? Your actions, your attitude, your demeanor, it's all based off whatever your gods say. So you could be running around here hating people. You could be running around here believing this and believing that, and your God could be off. That's why we got to question the gods. It's a blood vibes. God say thou shalt not murder and kill. We got to hold God accountable to that. God told us not to murder and kill. We got to hold God accountable to that. So in the verse, if there's a verse in the Bible where God is, reinforcing the killing, we should stop and question God. Yo, God, you said thou shalt not murder and kill, but why? Why are you now changing your mind and convincing us to kill murder in the name of you? Question the gods. You know what I mean? It's a blood clot vibes. We just vibing out, family. Yo, Matt, Messiah, where's that big man? Messiah come true. Y'all niggas charm on in. Who want to come in the biblical hot seat? Who want to get biblically interrogated? Who want to come defend the biblical God? Since Owaspi is nonsense, who want to come defend the biblical God? Who want to defend the God of war? Huh? Who want to defend that God? Dreadful Cosman, I see you, fam. We just vibing out on this Sunday afternoon. You know how we do. It's a blood clot vibes. Anybody want to come in the chat? I'll hop on in. The link is in the chat. I'm just vibing today. You see the title, Sila Shalom. It's a vibes, open session, meaning there's no particular topic, no sense of direction. We just come to mind. We just going with the flow. We moving like the spirit. You know what I mean? We moving like the spirit. Wherever the spirit go, we go. Yes, family. Yes, family. Where you say Ezekiel? Where you say big man? We just vibing on some vibes, you dig? We're going to more concepts dealing with the gods, dealing with the angels. If you don't believe God is an angel, prove it out the Bible. I say God is an angel according to the Bible. Prove me wrong. If you don't believe God is an angel, prove me wrong according to the text. I'm going to prove to you that God is an angel right now, and then rebuttal this right here. Anybody in the chat. Rebuttal this right here. If God is not an angel, rebuttal this. Take the strongs off. Is God an angel? For those who do not believe that God is an angel, I want to see you rebuttal it. Where we at? Uh-oh, I think I just heard a bloop. Hold up, where we at? Let me got there going. Hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute. Booyah. I think who? Oh, I thought I heard somebody jump. I thought I heard somebody jump in and shit. You know what I mean? So here's the proof that God is an angel. You know, we're going to start off slow and simple. We're going to start it off slow and simple. So we're going to first start it off with the legendary Exodus 31:18, where it states, and he being God himself, and God gave unto Moses when he had made an end of communion with him upon Mount Sinai, two tables of testimony, tables of stone written with the finger of God. Okay? So there's God talking to Moses on Mount Sinai. Be clear on that. Now, Acts 7:38 says the same thing, but this time it referenced God as an angel. It says, this is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel which spoke to him in Mount Sinai, and with our fathers, who received lively oracles to give unto us. So I would like anybody who studies the Bible to explain when it states the angel which spoke to him in Mount Sinai. Is this angel God? Because in Exodus, God spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai. Is this somebody different? Is God an angel? Because an angel spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, but who else spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai? I could be wrong. Was there another angel speaking to Moses on Mount Sinai? We're not talking about the burning bush. We're talking about Mount Sinai. Was God with angels when he came to Mount Sinai? That's the question. The angel which spoke to him in Mount Sinai. Anybody could click the link, come in the chat, and explain, is God an angel or not? What is an angel? According to the text. Angel means a messenger. See that? A messenger is an angel. Well, who is sending the message? Is that a person? Are we tying letters to a bird foot and the bird flying across the goddamn nation to drop a letter? Is a bird a messenger? Who's a messenger? A messenger got to be a damn man or a woman. One who is sent. See that? Look, an angel is one who was sent. Sent where? Who was sending them? Where you going? To and fro where? An angel. You trying to define the word angel, and they got the word angel as a definition. That don't make no sense. A messenger from God. A messenger. Is this messenger, is this a bird? You know, back in the days when they used to tie letters to birds' legs and shit, and the bird will fly somewhere and deliver the message. So is the messenger a bird? Or is the messenger a damn man? More definitions, and this is this is the Greek definition. Look, they got a pastor associated with angel. These niggas coming up with anything in these Strong's Concordances, boy. They got a pastor associated with angel. Ain't that some shit? So as you see that, according to the definition of angel, it's vague. They don't give you no real definition of what an angel is. We come to Yowaspi, we come to the glossary of words. Let me get to that. I got the glossary of words in here. You know what? Let me go to what I know. Let me go to my strange glossary in words. Now we come to the strange glossary in words in the Yowaspi. It says angel. What is an angel? Simple math. Angel, a spirit, man, or woman. Let's stop right there. An angel is a man or woman. That's the key point right here. Like I said before, who is sending the message? Is it a man or a damn bird? And even the bird, a man had to goddamn write the message, tie it to the bird's leg, and send the bird off to wherever it's going to deliver the message. But a man or a woman had to goddamn write the message. So again, an angel is a man or a woman. When we come back here to Strong's, not the Strong's, to Acts 38. So now, what is it saying? The angel which spoke to him in Mount Sinai. What is an angel according to the definition? The messenger. What is an angel according to the OSP? A man or a woman, period. So what is Acts 38 really telling us? A man which spoke to him in Mount Sinai. Nigga, that's what's going on. Yo, God is a man. Rightfully so. But you think this man who is God is the creator. That's the difference. That's what we coming at, to make the clear distinction that God is not the creator, being an angel. You dig? So what is an angel? A spirit, man or woman. But look at this. The word spirit does not define whether man or animal. Look at that. The word spirit does not define whether man or animal. Because the animals have spirits too, just like man. So the animal spirit could roam in the afterlife no different than man's spirit roams in the afterlife. Yowaspy already describes that that the animals exist in the spiritual world after they die. So you telling me the animals get a chance to survive in the spirit world or life after death, and you got niggas still scratching their head wondering if there's a life after death, showing you how far behind niggas is. Hold on. Nigga. Yes, family. So again, the word spirit does not define whether man or animal. Look what it states. But is often erroneously used instead of angel. See that? So they're letting you know that the proper term to use for angel, referencing man and woman, is more of a proper term compared to just using the word spirit, where spirit could relate to an animal as well. Let's go down to the word spirit. OSP got its own index, so check it. Spirit, synonymously but not correctly with angel. See that? When we say angel, we mean a spirit. But when we say spirit, we may not mean an angel. See that? Because you could be talking about the spirit of an animal. Animals don't turn into angels. But the spirit of that animal can still exist after death. But when we shed our body after death, rightfully so, we're angels. But we associate spirits with angels. So even though OSP gives you some clarity between associating spirits with angels and angels with spirits. And they say God is a spirit, right? So if God is a spirit, what does it say? Synonymously, but not correctly, with angel. So spirit is associated with angel. So God being a spirit is associated with angel. And we see the association right here in Acts 7:38. And which spoke to him in Mount Sinai, the angel which spoke to him in Mount Sinai. So we basically saying that God is an angel. God is a man. He's a man of war. An angel is a man. Right? Genesis 1:26, God is a man. Genesis 1:26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So God is a man. Man is associated with angel. Come back up to it. Angel, a spirit, man or woman. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Now keep in mind, if God is a spirit, spirits don't have images. A spirit is air. So air cannot be personified in an image because air is everywhere present. Let's show and prove. They say God is a spirit, right? What verses say God is a spirit? What verses say that? Let's get it. Let's get it where God is a spirit. What does it say right here? John 4:24. God is a spirit. Right there. God is a spirit. Let's get that in the blue. John 4:24. John 4:24. Now, which John is it? That's the question. They got like 1,000 Johns in this joint. John 4:24. Let's see if this is it. Nope. Hold on. John 4:24. God is a spirit. God is a spirit. Is this in this one? Let's see. Boom. There we go. It's in this verse. All right. So God is a spirit right there. Now, let's bring this back up to Genesis. God said, let us make man in our image. God is letting you know he has an image. But how can God be a spirit and be associated with an image? Let's see what the definition of spirit is. Spirit. All right, they're giving me the Greek definition. Let me get the Hebrew definition. Where that verse where it talk about the spirit of God hovered above the deep. Let me see. Where that? Right here. All right, so let's get it. It says, and what? The Spirit of God. Let's work this for a minute. Let's make this make sense. Or try to make it make sense. So you got the Spirit of God, God being the image. Hold on, let me get that back up there. John 4:24. Let me get that back up there. John 4:24. Right there. God is a spirit. So that's interesting. Because you have God is a spirit. Hold up. Yeah, God is a spirit. The Spirit of God. That's interesting. It says God is a spirit. And then it says the Spirit of God. In this verse, it sounds that the Spirit is separate from God. While in this verse, it's telling you that God is the Spirit itself. So if God is a spirit, the Spirit of God, God is a spirit, let's look at what a spirit is. Let's get that. Strong's Concordance for the word spirit. Boom, right there. What it say? Ruach. Ruach. It's a feminine noun. It's feminine. The spirit is feminine. If the spirit is feminine, that would make God feminine. Because think about it. If God is a spirit and spirit is a feminine noun, what would that make God? Ooh wee wee. Ooh wee wee. Niggas ain't got them going in. So ruach is feminine noun. And what does ruach refer to? Look, it refers to wind. Does wind have an image? It states here that God said, let us make man in our image. The question is, if God is a spirit, does wind have an image? Does breath have an image? Huh? Does mind have an image? Mind. These are the words for spirit. Does air have an image? Now keep in mind, when I say image, I'm talking about what it states here, in the image of man. Because God say, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So you would have to show me air in the image of man. Spirit in the image of, well, we can't use spirit because the very word we're defining is spirit. So you can't use spirit in the definition itself because we're defining the word spirit. So wind, show me wind in the image of man. Show me breath in the image of man. Show me mind in the image of man. And they say man means mind, some definitions. But show me air. See, this is the definition of, they say God is a spirit. So if God is the spirit, that means he'll be breath. He'll be wind. But do wind, do breath have a image that looks like man? According to the definition of spirit, breath is everywhere. Wind is everywhere. You can't sit there and say, there go wind. You could feel wind, and you could see wind blowing, like in the fall, when the leaves blow off the tree and be on the ground, you could see the wind currents blowing the leaves. But you can't see the wind. Have you ever seen a wind in the form of a man? So the wind is everywhere present. You can't put a beginning and ending on wind. You can't say this is where wind start and this is where wind end. You can't do that with wind. Wind is everywhere. Likewise with air and gas, same thing. Now keep in mind, this is the definition of spirit. And they say God is a spirit. So God is a man. Is air a man? Is gas a man? Can we look at gas? Can we put form and figure to gas and say there go, and then the form and figure is a man, and say that this is God, a gaseous man, an airy man? These are the definition. This is the definition of spirit. Ruach. It means gas. It means air. So when God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, this is a contradiction to the nature of his spirit. Because if God is a spirit, that means God would be air. He'll be classified as everywhere present. The spirit of God. And then God, air. So you might as well say, instead of saying God said, you might as well say air said, gas said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. See, they ain't making no sense. You can't make this make sense when God has a totally separate definition than ruach. It doesn't even correlate. See, breath, that's not an idol. That's not an angel. That's not a deity. See that? But God is associated with idols, deities, and angels. This is how you beat this up. See, the spirit of God. When we click God, what we get? We get an angel. We get these things. Angels, divine ones, right? So God is associated with angels. God is associated with deities. And God is also associated with, you know what? Idols. Right there. But ruach, the spirit, is not associated with none of those things. So how can God be the spirit when the spirit is not affiliated with angels, idols, and deities? Nowhere in this definition of spirit you see deities. Nowhere. See that? You don't see deity nowhere in the word, in the definition of spirit. You don't see deity nowhere. When we look up Hawa, let's look up Hawa. Because they like to say Yahuwah. To show you how they corrupt their own text. And when you look up Yahuwah, which is the Lord, click on Lord, which is Yahuwah. When you click on the root word of Yahuwah, which is Hawa, look, Hawa, again, it's not associated with images, idols, or deities. Hawa means to become, to be, become, come to pass, exist. See that? Spirit and Hawa, Ruach and Yahuwah is associated with each other because they're not associating themselves with images and idols. So when you look at the word, like again, when you look at the word Ruach, which is spirit, it's associated with what? Wind, breath, air. See that? Breath, wind, air, gas. These are the association with the word spirit. And the association of Yahuwah is dealing with to be, become, come to pass, exist. None of these definitions are associated with images and idols. Ruach is not. Ruach is not. And Hawa is not. When we come to God now, God is associated with idols. God is associated with what? Deities. And God is associated with what? Angels. See that? So when we go here now to God said, let us make man after our image. It's confusion now. Because first we're supposed to be worshiping. We're supposed to be acknowledging God as a spirit. If we acknowledge God as a spirit, we're acknowledging God is everywhere present and we can't see God. You can't see air. You can't see wind. You feel it. And under certain densities, like in winter, you could blow your breath out and see the condensity of the unseen becoming seen through the density of winter, when air is more dense. But God is a man, an image, an idol. He's an angel. So when we associate God with being an angel, it makes sense when we go back to Acts 7:38, and it says the angel which spoke to him in Mount Sinai. This angel is God. That's what the angel is. So do some things. You know what I mean? Some clearing up. They got to be cleared up about God being a spirit. We can't affiliate the two. Is God a spirit or is God God? Is a spirit or is God a spirit? Which one is it? Cosmo Cal in the building. I see the fam. Let's get some rhythms going. Let's get the rhythm up play, yeah. It's a blood clot vibes. Created not in the form of a man, exactly. And see, that's the thing. Everybody who believes in the Bible believe that God is the creator. Like if you want to just ask somebody, how does God look? They may right off the rip tell you can't see God. You know, God is unfathomable. You may have people who may verbally express that when you ask them who is God. But then when you hold them according to the Bible and ask them, well, who is God according to the Bible? Now they got to reference the text. Although their concept of God, when you ask them, was actually the creator. But being that they are a Christian, or being that they are Hebrew Israelite, or being that they believe in the Bible, now they got to conform the unfathomable creator, who they classified as God, to what is confined as God in the definition of the book. So when some people read God's definition in the book and see God's behavior in the book, which they may have never read, they'll be in denial of the God of the Bible. They're like, oh, well, I don't worship that. Although that's in the Bible, I don't worship that. I done heard people say that, although they Christian. You may pull up some verses where God is doing some murderous things, and they're like, nah, that ain't the God I follow. They'll do that. They make that shit clear. See what I'm saying? Those words, the words angel, God, and man are used interchangeably. That's right, they are. All associated with the deity. That's right. Lodge up yourself, pick up yourself, bronze yogi in the building. What Cosmo say? God is that angel on the throne. God and creator are not the same. And that's our argument. That's our whole approach and goal, is to differentiate the two. And you got cats hating on the Owaspy. Get that book out of here when the book is clearing up the confusion. That's why y'all don't want to deal with the book. I see when Cosmo and Cal was on Sunday yesterday and Apostle and trying to, get that book out of here. We don't want to deal with that book. What you mean you want to deal with the book? Information, what you scared? You scared we're going to expose your God as being an angel and not the creator? You scared of that? You scared for it? He who serves the creator fears nothing in heaven or on earth or beneath this motherfucker. Your faith is strong in the creator. What you running for? Nigga, bring any goddamn book to us, nigga. We're not saying no, don't bring that book. Bitch, bring it. You in the Bible? Bring it. You in the Quran, nigga? Bring it. You in the 120 lessons, nigga? Bring it. You in the commended text, nigga? Bring it. And compare it against the Owaspy. That's what we saying. We not shunning no books, nigga. We challenging all books. You read the Urantia, nigga? Bring it. You read those like the Megala, whatever the book called, bring it. You read the Etherian Gospels, bring it. You read the Book of Enoch, bring it. All we doing is a cross comparison. We already showed that the Etherian Gospels line up with the Owaspy. We already showed that. Malachi Maccabee showed that. You know what I'm saying? We challenging the text as we display the information. I mean, bring up that Book of Enoch and challenge it. Bring up the Book of Jubilee and challenge it. The Book of Jasper, the Forgotten Books. I got all that shit too. Put that shit up. We not saying, oh no, yo, don't bring that book out here, man. Throw that, no, get that book out of here. We not saying that. We saying bring, come, bring. Nigga, that's what we doing. Fucking lions over here, man. Ain't no cowards. You dig? Run the blood clot rhythm. You say, oh, me out. Lots to laugh. What about the book of Ifa? Bring them all, King. Bring the Orishas. Bring the Orishas. Bring any pantheon gods. Bring any spiritual system that's dealing with an ancestral pantheon of deities. Bring them and we'll challenge them. Owaspy versus any of the motherfuckers. Battle of the Holy Books, nigga. We still out here. We just teaching right now, but we still out here. You say Cosmon. He forget that work too. You goddamn right, nigga. No goddamn prisoners. No goddamn prisoners over here. It's a blood bleed vibes. Bring all the gods to the forefront. What's their spiritual system? We may find some similarity in these spiritual systems. You know what I mean? We may find some similarities in the Orisha's spiritual system. You know what I mean? They talk about guardian angels. We may find some comparisons to some of these other spiritual systems. That's what the whole point is about. Bringing out the spiritual systems. Spirituality. You know what I mean? We talking about life and what happens after we die. The life after. That's what this shit about. What the fuck you think you here just to live this corporeal physical life, die, and that's the end of your existence? Nigga, if you think that shit, when you cross over in spirit, you're gonna have a hard time accepting that your ass done crossed over and is existing in spirit, the same thing you existed in this fleshly body, but moving in spirit, you're gonna have a hard time to accept it. You're gonna be one of them niggas. You're gonna be one of them niggas that cross over, and your guardian angel gotta tell you time and time over again that nigga, you done died. You ain't on earth. You in this realm now, and you just scratching your head in denial because you think death is just when things just dissipate and you don't exist no more. But when you realize your ass is still conscious, and you can retain your individuality after death, then you're gonna be like, God damn, niggas was telling the truth all along. How the fuck they know this? Nigga, we've been trying to tell you. You gotta investigate. You gotta read. Consciousness is awareness. If you ain't aware, shit, you dead. Ignorance is death. Huh? Check the vibes. Ignorance is death, family. Let me close this shit real quick. Yes, family. Smoking on some good ganja, yes. A nice vibes, your boy Sly Shalom. It seems they speak on the same, just different ways of coming out. Yes, you do have certain spiritual systems that are very similar. Then they're the same, like you said, just expressed differently. If you find a spiritual system where that spiritual system is giving reverence to a creator, then you know that the system, you know what I mean, could coincide with your spiritual system. I mean, if you go across town, another goddamn country, you find a spiritual system similar to yours, you can adapt and join. That'll just be another faithless branch of another society. Yes, oh yeah, yes, Israel, yes, a big man. Detox is working great, thanks, Eli. Yes, family, you're done now. Matter of fact, let's go into our commercial break, yes?
Bittersweet Herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. Bittersweetherbals.com.
Run the rhythm!
Bittersweet Herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. Bittersweetherbals.com.
Make sure to get your bitters. You done know the order. But yeah, we're going to continue to stay on the necks of these gods. That's our mission. You know what I mean? You notice these Hebrew Israelites ain't running to niggas to debate this information. You don't see me running the sign that every second. What the niggas had that? Holla at me when it's time to debate the information, chapter and verse. That's when you gonna see me pop out the goddamn mess. The niggas can have the gossip, the chapter and verse on the table. Is your God an angel on the table? Prove to me your God is not an angel according to the Bible. You already defined what an angel is. A messenger. What is a messenger? A goddamn man or a woman. Somebody got to carry the message. Create a gang in the building. You already know. So we showing and proving that if God is a spirit, how can a spirit have shape and form if a spirit is associated with it? Because keep in mind, the word spirit is an abstract word. That's Western thinking. Eastern thinking is concrete thinking. You have abstract thinking and you have concrete thinking. Abstract thinking is Western philosophy and thought. Eastern philosophy and thought is concrete thinking. What is the difference between abstract thinking and concrete thinking? The difference between abstract thinking and concrete thinking is that abstract thinking is using words that do not have to identify the five senses: taste, touch, sound, sight. But concrete thinking, the words have to display within the five senses: taste, touch, sight, feel. So when we use the word spirit, the word itself is an abstract word, meaning what? Meaning when you say the word spirit, it does not associate with sight, touch, feel, taste. It's outside of reality. It's not a real word. It's an abstract word. And these are words used in Western philosophy. This is Western thinking, using words that are abstract, that are not identified by the five senses. But when we come to Eastern thought, this is why the laws were so severe in Eastern thought dealing with spirituality, because you had to demonstrate what you say you claim to obtain. So, Eastern thought is concrete thinking, meaning you have to identify the word with sight, touch, taste. You have to identify the five senses to the word. So if the word spirit is an abstract word where we can identify sight, taste, touch, feel. Hold on 1 second, family. Yes, family. So again, like I said, Eastern thinking is concrete thinking. So when we say the word spirit, that's abstract. You can't associate the word spirit with the senses. You can't associate spirit with sight, taste, touch, sound. It's an abstract word. But when we translate the word back to Eastern thinking, to Hebrew, to ruach, you see the word ruach is associated with something tangible. Air is tangible. You could feel it. You can't see it, but you could feel it. You could taste it. It's a gas. You could smell it. See that? So air is associated with concrete thinking, Eastern philosophy, Eastern thought. Because now we could demonstrate air. We could breathe in deep and exhale and demonstrate ruach. We could demonstrate spirit by breathing. We could demonstrate spirit by pointing to when the wind is in motion or feeling the wind. But when we say spirit, we can't do that because it's not a word. It's an abstract word. It's not a concrete word. So Hebraic thinking is concrete thinking, meaning everything has to be associated within basically corporality. Because even in the Owaspy, everything physical and spiritual is one and the same. When the Owaspy describes the spiritual worlds, it's just like the physical worlds. Of course, it's going to be more illustrious and more advanced and more glorious and more majestic. But at the end of the day, you could identify. It's concrete. They flying in goddamn objects. These are spiritual beings. They're not dealing on a corporeal plane. They're dealing on an etheric plane, and they're describing etherian ships, kingdoms, which are tangible to the touch, impenetrable. You already see how the false gods create standing armies, when they make their kingdoms, walling their kingdoms around, the same way we do on earth. The physical world and the spiritual world are one and the same, moving at two different vibrational frequencies. That's it. When we was watching Ghost last night, family, Creator Gang. You remember when we was watching Ghost? You see that? When Patrick Swayze got shot and started running after dude, he was in spirit. But notice his spiritual body was held apart tangibly. See that? Although he was invisible, he was still visible, but within the realm he was in. And the realm he was in paralleled and overlaps the physical world. See that? So Patrick Swayze, when he died and saw himself, his spiritual body is moving outside of visible light, just outside of visible light. So his girl is, holding him like, oh, don't die, don't leave me. He looking at himself like, what the fuck? Like, How is this possible? How am I looking at myself? My girl is holding me, but I'm standing here. That was his expression. The nigga then came out his physical body. He done died. But see, if you notice when he died, he wasn't resting in that physical body. His spiritual body immediately detached itself to the point when he got shot and died right there, his spirit body was chasing the shooter. That was the funniest shit. He running after the nigga thinking he in his physical body. He in spirit running after this nigga. And then when the dude get away, he turn around thinking he about to go back to his girl, not knowing he looking at himself on the ground. And he's astonished, like, I can't believe this shit. So now he's in spirit, meaning that his angelical body is moving outside of visible light because everything is vibration. Everything from 700 nanometers to 300 nanometers is visible sight. So the spirit body moving outside of that visible light into the infrared range of the spectrum, or the UV range. Whether you're moving at a higher vibrational frequency outside of visible light, or you're moving at a lower vibrational frequency outside of visible light. So nonetheless, you're still invisible outside of visible light. I mean, you're still invisible outside of the range of visible light. So Patrick Swayze was moving outside of visible light. That's why nobody could see him. He's trying to touch objects. His hand is flowing through the objects because he's moving at a vibrational frequency that's faster than visible light. So he could move. That's like me smacking this mic because I'm within the range of this. But if I was in spirit, my hand could fluster straight through the mic because I'm moving at a vibrational frequency faster than what the mic could pick up. But that movie, nonetheless, is a good example of showing you how the first experience after your physical death, first you cross over in spirit, you're in denial that you're dead. You know what I mean? Then you're trying to communicate with your loved ones because that's what he spent the whole time doing, trying to communicate to his girl that he okay. But how did he end up doing that? He couldn't do it on his own. He had to go to where? He went to Whoopi Goldberg. He went to the medium. And when he went to Whoopi playing the medium, thinking that shit fun and jokes, she got a real account. She's like, yo, I'm such and such. She jumped up like, what the fuck? Oh, hell no. She was in denial, just like he was in denial. She came into the light now. She's like, oh, I thought this shit was jokes. She said, everybody said we had the gift. I had the gift. She said, no, I got it. I don't want it. See that? And the spirit ain't leave. She was pressing him because he had what? A message. See? Patrick Swayze was playing a messenger. Huh? He was being a message. He's sending a message to Whoopi Goldberg to send to his girl to let him know, I'm okay. I'm here. I'm still here. See that? So a messenger is still a goddamn person. And that's an example right there. So yeah, we was watching the movie Ghost Create a Gang Gang. You know what I mean? Show some interesting points. Even the point where it showed the dude who killed Patrick Swayze. If you notice when he got killed, when he got hit between the cars, and he came out his body and saw himself and was in denial. But if you notice, them drudges, them spirits of darkness came for him. They came and dragged his ass into Haiti and into hell. If you notice that. If you notice that they dragged his ass into Haiti. So that's an example in the Awaspi we're talking about the spirits of darkness, the drudges. And you see these spirits, these black spirits, these dark spirits come, grab his ass and drag his ass off of one of them hells. And the other guy who wanted the $4 million, they dragged his ass and carried his ass off too. But then when those Patrick Swayze time, what they do? His ass got taken up. He got taken up into the light. He got taken up into that second resurrection, or the organic heavens of the first resurrection. Nonetheless, it was good vibes, family. Exactly, yup. You said it right. In the first level of atmospheric in heaven, that's right. You went to the organic heavens, the first heavens. Yes, family. Break down these movies with spirituality, but the scene where the dudes got taken to Haiti, the spirits that took them dudes, who was practicing evil, who was practicing murder, who killed, their ass got drugged down into Haiti. You dig? Let me see here. Like this scene here. Like this scene we seen yesterday. This is the scene when, you know what I mean, this girl was holding him, he got hit, but he looking at himself. He in spirit, he done died, and this is his angelic body looking at his corporeal body, and he's in shock, like any of us would be to experience that. See that? Same shit I watched me talk about. And it's the part when he was on the train. You know what I mean? The dude on the train, what? The dude on the train was what? He was his teacher. What did he teach him to do? He was teaching him how to master corporality and spirit. That's one of the primary education of the first and second resurrection in the book of divinity, where it talk about mastering corporality as an angel. And this part in the movie demonstrated that. It demonstrated Patrick Swayze being taught by the man on the train, the spirit on the train, showed him how to control his mind by concentrated thought. He said everything is thought. Everything is in your mind. You got to concentrate. He ain't lying. That's actual facts. That's why it's interesting how some of these older movies be dropping these gems. In these newer movies, they don't even speak on these type of topics no more. Let's see. Let me see. That'll come up the part when they dragged his ass off. Haiti. Well, that's one scene right there. That's the scene when they started dragging his ass to Haiti. Y'all remember that scene? Those are the drudges grabbing his ass. Look at the prints on the shirt, the hands. These are the drudges, the spirits of darkness about to drag this nigga off into Haiti. They go the dude on the train right there. This is the dude that taught Patrick Swayze how to use his mind to control corporality, control material things. So he was acting as a guide and a teacher at that moment. But he's a drudge himself. But he's been in the realm long enough to teach, although he's a drudge. There's levels to this shit. There's levels to this shit, yo. And this is the dude who got hit by the car. That was that scene right there. That was his expression when he seen himself. When he seen his ass got hit and was stuck between them cars, and he seen he's like, yo, he's looking at his body stuck between two cars, dead. And he's in shock. That's his spirit body looking at his corporeal body in shock. He's in denial. He can't believe what he sees. He's like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Because he probably thought, like how some of these people think that when you die, that's it. There is no more of you. But guess what, dum-dum? You're going to be looking just like this nigga here. You're going to be looking just like this nigga here in pine oil heaven. That's the look you're going to have when you go to pine oil heaven. Chestnuts roasting. That's the look you're going to have right there. That's the pine oil heaven face right there. The pine oil heaven face. That's how niggas go. It's going to be like 10,000, 10 million motherfuckers in pine oil heaven. And that's going to be the pine oil heaven face when they first enter in. See that? Pine oil heaven is where you niggas is headed. That's the pine oil heaven face. So we just showing you how
An open fire.
Your ass is going to pine oil heaven, nigga. That's what we showing you.
To pine oil heaven. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's where you headed, boy.
That's playing with the pine oil heaven face.
Chestnuts roasting
walking into heaven,
on an open
walking into hell with the pine oil heaven face.
To pine oil heaven. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
So they go into pine oil heaven, and this is the pine oil heaven face. That's the pine oil heaven face. That's how niggas gonna be looked. They're gonna be shocked. It's paralyzed shocked. Niggas gonna be so shocked they're gonna be paralyzed, stuck in one place. Can't even take a foot because they're gonna be so paralyzed. Y'all been through some experience. I know some of y'all niggas done been through some experiences in life. For example, you know, niggas done been through shootouts, or you at a party, or you somewhere and shots ring out so close that it paralyzes you. You can't even run. The first second you paralyze. Bah, 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 you paralyze. And then you get to running. So that's the goddamn pine oil heaven paralyzed face look. Right there. The pine oil heaven paralyzed face look. That's how niggas going up in Haiti. All you niggas following these false gods, that's how y'all niggas going up into hell with your false gods. That's how you niggas going up in the pine oil heaven, just like that.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Y'all better get it right, Finley.
To pine oil heaven. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
We're trying to tell them.
To pine oil heaven. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
That's that pine oil heaven face. You already know what it is, fam. You already know what it is. Pine oil heaven. Nigga said similar to the shit on my self face. Nigga, you stupid. Hell nah. You stupid for that one, King. Yeah, I love the humor, man. I let it laugh, yo. That was a good one right there. That nigga said, that's the shit on my face. Now I gotta go back to the picture, look at this nigga after saying that shit now. Go back and see how this nigga look. That nigga said something to the shit on my self face. This is the shit on my self face look right here. Not only is it the pine oil heaven face, but it's the shit on my self face. Because you remember, in Haiti, it said they're gonna have foul gases in that motherfucker. Niggas gonna be shitting all over themselves in that goddamn Haiti. Niggas gonna have the shit face look and shit. Yo, that shit is funny as hell. Yo, you crazy for that one, King. You crazy for that one. Oh, shit, yo. Y'all niggas is crazy, yo. That's real, though, man. For y'all niggas following these false gods, we trying to save you niggas, man. We clowning you niggas, man. We trying to save you, man. We trying to bring you into the fold, nigga. Come on home, nigga. Group hug, nigga. Come on into the fold, nigga. Create a gang is the fold. I don't know what y'all niggas doing over there. Y'all niggas over there fucking worrying about Esau. Talking about 2/3 is gonna be destroyed through nuclear. Y'all niggas focused on the wrong shit, man. Y'all focused on nuclear destruction. Y'all niggas don't know what the fuck y'all niggas talking about, man. You think these niggas gonna drop a nuclear bomb and y'all niggas gonna escape and not be affected by this shit or something? Because we're the Israelites and we still in the corner and preach the gospel? Fuck out of here, bro. We challenging you niggas on your text. We saying your God ain't who we say he is. Look at Nathaniel, Bishop Nathaniel. Look at all the people he got following him and his doctrine. That's his movement. He created that shit. He started that shit. He like a Lua monk. Nathaniel is Lua monk's right-hand man right now. They're followers of Christ. They believe in God in the Bible. They believe in the angry and jealous God. But look at the people. Look at the amount of thousands of people that follow that doctrine. Look at the amount of thousands of people that are going to have the pine oil heaven face. That's going to have the shit on my face look. All them niggas Nathaniel is leading is going to have this face right here. The shit on myself face. The pine oil heaven face. If Nathaniel, Zabak, all these big group leaders of these Israelite camps, if y'all niggas don't get it right, if y'all think this shit again, if y'all think y'all following the correct God because it's in the Bible, y'all niggas is in for a rude fucking awakening. This is what y'all niggas gonna end up. This is how y'all niggas gonna get captured right here. Let's go to the book of Thor, chapter 1, verse 14. The book of Thor, chapter 1, verse 14. Let's go there for a minute. 13 and 14, essentially. This was going to happen to you niggas. Zabak, HOI, Nathaniel, IUIC. What's the other group with General Yohanan and them boys? This was going to happen to their spirit after death for following these gods. We trying to wake you niggas up. Book of Thor, son of Jehovah, chapter 1, verse 13. The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation, and made to bow down in adoration and worship to the false Lord or false God. See, these false lords and false gods who you think the Most High is. And these, in return, being contiguity to mortals, inspire them to the same worship. That's how we know you under the inspiration of these false gods, because they send inspiring angels to keep up the worship. And then it states, look what happens to you, though, which fits them at the time of their death to fall as slaves into the dominion of whom they worship. See, that's what we're trying to get. That's what we're trying to nuzzle in you niggas' heads and you women heads. We're trying to help you out to avoid this right here, which fits them, which fits you niggas at the time of their death to fall as slaves. That's what we're trying to avoid. You're about to be a slave to these guys, the same way the Israelites think that he who goes into captivity shall lead into captivity. No, what you fail to realize is that your God already has you in captivity. Because when you cross over in spirit, he's going to what? What did he say up here? When you cross over in spirit, you're going to be what? The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance. That's what's going to happen first. You're going to be captured and kept in ignorance. Kept in ignorance of what? Of the other realms around you, of the other gods around you, of the other angels around you, of the other heavenly kingdoms around you. You're going to be kept in ignorance to believe that the heavenly kingdom that you're in is the only heavenly kingdom. Captured and kept in ignorance. Ignorance of what? Jehovah and his vast creation. See that? You've been taught you're going to New Jerusalem is coming down out of heaven on earth. You can't be taught Jehovah's vast creation in a New Jerusalem on earth. When the Awaspi Jehovah is telling you, I created the etherian worlds for you to inherit. You can't inherit the etherian worlds if you got a New Jerusalem coming down on earth and you're supposed to be in this New Jerusalem on earth. See that? That's how they got you what? Captured and kept in ignorance. You're captured and kept in ignorance because you think Jehovah's kingdom is going to be on earth and you niggas are going to be spending eternity on earth. Captured and kept in ignorance. And then who is giving you these revelations? The false lords and false gods. Your false gods and your false lords is who you think the Most High is in your Bible. That's the most damaging part. That's why niggas don't want to deal with us. They don't want to deal with us because we're not attacking the nations. We're not attaching geographical land masses and ownership of land and this, that, and the third about the land. We coming after your God. That's who we attacking, your God. And when we show imperfections of your God, you run. You don't want to hear it because it shakes the very foundation of your soul. And you'd rather be what? Captured and kept in ignorance than to know creator in his vast creation. And then being that you're under the inspiration of these false lords and false gods, what does it state? And these in turn being contiguity to mortals, what they do? Inspire them to the same worship. That's how we know you under the false gods. Because you niggas worship Christ. You worship the God of war. All these are attributes of the false gods and false lords. So by your very confession of these false gods and false lords, who you classify as the Most High, we already know that you're under the inspiration of these fallen angels or these false gods through their angel warrior host. And then this is the most damaging part of the whole verse right here, which fits them at the time of their death to fall as slaves into the dominion of him whom they worshipped. See that? Whatever God you worshipped, you're going to be a slave to that God. So for those who follow in the God of Israel, you're going to be a slave to that God. You thought that was the Most High. No. False God. Those who worship Allah, they're going to be subservient slaves in the kingdom in the afterlife to these gods. See that? So that's what's going to happen, man. Y'all going to be kept in ignorance of Jah and his vast creation. Y'all going to be looking like this when you realize that you've been caught out there. This is the face of Tazariak, General Yohana, Nathaniel, Zabat. That's how them niggas going to be looking when they realize that all this time they've been worshiping a false God who they thought was the Most High. And it's going to reflect on niggas like us when they're going to be like, damn, you had these niggas that was saying this shit, but we was ignorant because we was captured and kept in ignorance, inspired by the false God. And now you niggas walking around with the I shit on myself face. You walking around with the pine oil heaven face. That's how y'all niggas going to be looking right there. Millions upon millions of followers of this biblical God is going to be looking just like this nigga here when they enter pine oil heaven. Or when they come to the realization that they Most High is not who he say he is, and you niggas is locked in his kingdom. Ain't no escape. Just imagine that. You in the kingdom of your God, and you thought he was the Most High, couldn't find out he not, and your ass can't escape. You locked in the kingdom. That's like you worshiping God, and then God take the mask off. You in the kingdom of God, and you watching God on the throne, and then God take the mask off and realize he's Satan. And now you niggas is scattering in the kingdom trying to run away. But you locked within the kingdom, you can't escape. And y'all gonna have that face right there. The shit on myself face. The pine oil heaven face. Along with the goddamn pine oil heaven music playing.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Can you handle the truth is the question we coming with, because we bringing this truth. You know what I mean? That's a scary ass thing to be up in the. Just imagine you in the kingdom of your God, and this nigga take the mask off and he a fucking devil, yo. You know what I mean? The Israelites was already worshiping devils. Do we need to go to Leviticus? Do we need to go to Leviticus to show how Israel was worshiping devils in Leviticus 7? So it ain't too far fetched. Niggas was already worshiping devils, so you know, God threw the mask off a long time ago on these niggas. God been through the mask off on these niggas. Family. It's a blood clot vibes. say, bros, said that's that I gotta squeeze my cheeks and the bathroom is up the street face. You forgot to add the face at the end. Yes, family. Vibing out, yes. Yes, wow, yo. It's a blood clot vibes. So like I say, boy, this spiritual shit is deep. This spiritual shit run deep. You gotta be consciously aware of these things. I mean, it's a blood clot vibes. Yes, family, we vibing, you know how we do. You know how we do. Let me see if we can pull up some vibes, yes. It's a blood clot vibes. I have a problem with memory. How can I get help with that, bro? Shoot. Clear your mind. A lot of times we got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff on our mind, man. Our mind can be cluttered. And we can have issues with memory. Especially when you have multitask things going on. Yeah, that can be a problem. You just have to meditate, relax, free up your mind, yes? Jamie in the building, peace, queen. You got the queen in the building. Shout out to the sisters, the swift messengers. They be on top of their job. The gods and goddesses in the building. It's a blood clot vibes. Vibing out, family. We just vibing out. Let's investigate. Let's investigate job creation still. Let's investigate Jehovah's creation. One thing I like about the OWASP is that it's a universal system to this shit. You feel me? It's a universal order. Yes, sister, and you just have to find time to realize. You have to relax. Just try to get things in order. Sometimes things can be chaotic. You know what I mean? It ain't easy out here, yo. This shit rough. You know what I'm saying? Especially for you sisters, single mothers, raising these kids, these babies. It ain't easy. I already, man. I take my hat off to y'all for that shit, yo. Hands down. Shit. That's real talk. That's real talk right there. One thing I like about the Owaspi is that these rules are universal. The principles, the same principles apply to all the stars, sun, planets, and moons, but differing in manifestation on account of size, motion, density, and relative place. See, it's one universal system the Creator deals with, one universal order. The periodic table of elements, the ingredients to creation. See, it's one universal order. What does it say in the book of Jehovah, chapter 6, verse 5? Observe, O man, as a farmer soweth corn in one place, wheat in another, and flax in another. Everything in a separate place. See, the Owaspi is giving you context of how creation is laid out. It's giving you context. As a farmer sows corn in one place, wheat in another, and flax in yet another. Everything in a separate place. Even so does Jehovah store the ingredients of which worlds are made. Everything in its place. Let's stop there. So we're talking about Jehovah creating worlds. We're talking about these galaxies again. See that? So when we're talking about creation, it's talking about how creation is laid out with ingredients, separate in separate places in the cosmos. So you may that may be a little bit of this type of mineral here and a little bit of this type of mineral here. Everything's separate in its own place, and these are the ingredients of creation. That's the interesting part. Even so does Jehovah store the ingredients of which worlds are made, everything in its place. The substance of iron in one place, the substance of stones in another, the substance of the vegetables kingdom in another, and likewise for the substance of the animal kingdom, and oils and sand, for he has places in the firmament of heaven for all of them. That which thou saw are the Jaya, the Aja, and the Nebula, and amidst them in places there is Simu also. See that? Simu is the activation to life. This is substance. These are substance. These are minerals. It said they have oils in the heavens. Sand. See that? All these things are in the cosmos. All these things are in the cosmos. All these ingredients. See all these dust clouds. This could have been a world that just got dissipated, and then now it's a dust cloud before it starts the vortex and precipitates these minerals, these ingredients to the center to create worlds again. This is the abstract of creation, where things are abstract, no form. Like in Genesis, when it says the earth was a formless void, this is the formless void. When it dissipates, to be a formless void, let me coincide that formless void with the book of Jehovah, chapter 7. No, chapter 7, chapter 3. Chapter 3, 15. See right here, chapter right here. And then it says, then cometh Uz, and it is spirited to the way, into the unseen realm. So when it says the earth was a formless void, it's talking about the fourth age, the time of destruction, the time of dissipation. That's what it's talking about. It says, thus I create and dissipate. Muff and hush. Dissipate. So the dissipation is basically the fourth age. Then cometh ooze, and it is spirited to the way into the unseen realm, talking about the earth, meaning it's dissipated back into a cloud dust. And then from here, the process starts again by gathering, making a vortex, taking these gases right here, and then it creates a vortex. See that? So from looking like this, a vortex is generated in the midst of these clouds dust, and it starts the vortex like this. So the minerals of the vortice is basically the dust clouds of dissipated planets, dissipated stars, dissipated moons, and dissipated suns. That's why I stated the four ages of a planet. It says first as vapor. First as, before the vortex, it says first as vapor. This is the vapor state right here. This is the dissipated state. This is the cloud dust, the cosmic cloud dust. This is the ingredients. A little iron over here, a little stone over here, some for the vegetable kingdom, sand and oil. All this is within the heavens. This is the abstract part of creation before it's concrete with form and substance or direction and purpose. So again, first as vapor. This is the vapor. And then it states what? The vortex. Carry it forth and it condense. The vortex. This is the vortex. So first as vapor, and then the vortex gives it a rotary. And the process and purpose of the vortex is to what? Create this little light you see in the center called a sun. See it right here too? In the center of this vortice is a sun. In the center of this vortice is a sun. So what does the verse state? First as vapor, the vortex carry it forth, and its friction engenders heat, and it is what? As a globe of fire in heaven. A globe of fire in heaven is a sun, and that's exactly what you see right here, a sun. See that? All these are suns in the center of these vortices. See that? There goes a sun. There goes sun in the center. All these vortices got suns in the center of the vortice. Like I say, this dismissed the whole flat earth theory. Because you got to have this going on before you can even have planets. Because the vortex got to produce the solar system. The main source of energy got to be generated first before you can even have anything else going on. So that's got to be the dumbest thing to think you niggas is in a flat earth in a dome when you got to have a central generated source before you can even have any of the celestial bodies. And this is the proof of the central generated source being the sun, and the vortex is the purpose of the the vortex is the cause of the sun being created. So again, now that's how niggas looking right now. They got the doodle face. They got the pot and oil heaven face because God didn't tell them this. This creator talking. Its friction engenders heat, and it is molten, becoming as a globe of fire in heaven. They go to proof of the globe of They go to proof of the globe of fire in heaven. See that? In the center of all these galaxies, you see a sun, a central sun. You can't have no goddamn planet. You can't have no earth even created without that central solar energy being created first. So the whole flat earth theory goes out the window. Because when they can't explain this, the earth is subjected to this vortex. The solar system rides around this solar system. And this solar system rides around a bigger solar system. Vortices within vortices. So again, they got the doodle face. So it states, after the globe of fire, what happens? Then it takes its place as a newborn world, and I set it in its orbit prepared for it. In the next age, I bring it into what? Simu. Simu, we mentioned, was one of the ingredients earlier. In the next age, I bring it into Simu, for it is ripe for the bringing forth of living creatures, and I bestow the what? The vegetable and animal kingdom. But keep in mind, this planet is now talking about an age where it can support vegetable and animal kingdoms. But earlier, remember, this same celestial body was a globe of fire. It went from a globe of fire to the next age where Simu was rained down, and now it is ripened for the vegetable kingdom and the animal kingdom. So it's showing you the stages of the vortex, from a dust cloud to a vortex, from a vortex to a central sun, from a central sun to an inhabitable planet. Where to stay? Then I bestow the vegetable and animal kingdom. See that? So this is the order. I'm showing you the order. From a dust cloud, because it stated first as vapor, and then it says the vortex carry it forth. They go to vortex. And then it said after the vortex, a globe of fire is the first celestial body, which is the sun. And then after he said, I rain down Sinu and I bestow what? The vegetable and animal kingdom. The Owaspi is showing you the stages of creation. These are the stages, the ages of the celestial body. Sun, moon, stars, and planets. See that? So again, it states, next age I bring it in the Simu, for it is ripened for the bringing forth of the living creatures, and I bestow the vegetable and animal kingdom. Next it enters Hutu, for it is past the age of begetting. See that? Even as the living who are advanced in age. So it's letting you know that there's going to be a time when the earth is going to look like this, or the whole earth is going to look like this. This is what the Owaspi is showing you. The earth is going to become what? A barren wasteland. It's going to look like this. It's going to go from this. It's going to go to this. So the Owaspi is showing you the order. First has that dust cloud. You that dust cloud. Then Creator gives it that vortex, creating the vortex and a central sun, raining down Sinu, inhabitable for animal and man. Then after nature exhausts its resources, the ecosystem will soon come to an end. And then when it do, it's going to look like a desert. It's going to look like this, where the earth is barren, just like the verse states. Next it enters Hutu, for it is past the age of begetting, even as the living who are advanced in age, in years. And then what it states next. Net it enters Adu, and nothing can generate upon it. Just like this. You can't plant no seed here. You can't plant no seeds here and anything will grow on it. You can't grow no apple trees out here. Ain't no mango trees growing out here. You niggas gonna be eating cactuses and thorns out this motherfucker, trying to get some milk. That's gonna be the last goddamn meal for niggas. When the inhabitable age is coming to an end, that's what niggas gonna turn back to, milk. Just like a baby. You come into this world drinking milk, you're gonna leave this motherfucker drinking cactus milk. That's gonna be the last source of food for niggas when this earth becomes uninhabitable and becomes a desert. Cactus milk is what you niggas gonna be sucking on. So we're showing you the stages. Then cometh Uz, what I was reading earlier, and it is spirited away into the unseen realm. Spirited away meaning what? It is dissipated. It's coming back to this now. So we went through all that only to come back to where we started at. See that? He says, then cometh Uz, and it is spirited away into the unseen realm. What Creator say? Thus I create, thus I dissipate. See that? Thus I create, that's creation. That's creation. Thus I dissipate. That's when he dissipate that vortex. When that vortex get dissipated, that's how it looks. It looks abstract. This is concrete. It has purpose, it has direction. This is abstract. But then what the book say? Thus I create and dissipate planets, sun, moons, and stars. So this is one universal principle. He said all planets, sun, moon, and stars go through this. And when we started out the verse, we started out by saying what? Book of Cosmogony and Prophecy, chapter 1, verse 1. The same principles apply to all the stars, suns, planets, and moons. See that? Right there. What did the verse say? Thus I create and dissipate planets, suns, moons, and stars. What it states here? The same principles apply to all the stars, suns, planets, and moons. And what are the principles? Well, we just read the 4 stages. Starting off as what? A dust cloud. From the dust cloud to what? A vortex. From a vortex to what? A central sun. From a central sun to what? An inhabitable world. From an inhabitable world to what? A bearing world. From a bearing world to what? Back to this shit. And then the shit starts all over again. Thus I create, thus I dissipate planets, sun, moon, and stars. You see how Jehovah's beautiful in the Owaspy? Give me a 1 if you get this understanding, if it's clear. Give me a 1 if you get this understanding. It's easy work coming from the Owaspy. Easy work. Here's a precept. Here is found iron, copper, granite, water, lead, clay, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and various other kinds of corporeal substance as known on earth. And besides these, millions of things not known on earth. See that? There's minerals out there we don't even know about. We thought we got all the periodic tables figured out. Nigga, it said there's millions of minerals out there we don't even know about. And eth holds them in solution, even in the same way that the air holds the substance of clouds, which is water in solution. And as some clouds are so rarefied as to be imperceptible, while others are opaque and even black, so are the comparative conditions of etheria. Just imagine, you probably got some dark regions up in the etheria regions. Dark, lit up with some lights looking wild, yo. There are 2 known things in the universe, ether and corpor, the unseen and the seen, basically. Gas and solids. That's Prophecy, chapter 2, verse 1. What is ether? For the substance of my etherian worlds, I created eth. What is eth? The most rarefied. What is rarefied? Huh? The most rarefied. Define rarefied. Boom. What does it say? Air. Air. Ether is air. See, we ain't dealing with no spooky shit. When we say ether, we're not dealing with nothing spooky. It's talking about air, but what type of air? Air that is what? At a high altitude. Huh? Ether is air at a high altitude. So now, we clear on what ether is. For the substance of my etherian worlds, I created eth. So you have air at high altitude. And what is air? Minerals. All minerals are expressed in a gaseous form. So these same gaseous forms, which is the substance of eth, are used to create etherian worlds. The same way we use the solid, liquid, and gases, the minerals of this corporeal world, to create our world, to create substance, to create things. So he says, for the substance of my etherian worlds, I created eth, the most rarefied. Out of eth, I made them. And I made eth, the subtile of all created things. And I gave it power and place, not only by itself, but also power to penetrate and exist within all things, even within the corporeal worlds. See that? So eth even penetrate and exist in our very presence now. And to eth I give dominion over both atmosphere and corpor. So boy, if you could goddamn find that ether got control and dominion over atmosphere and corpor. And ether penetrating all things within corpor. So if you can control that ether air within, boy. But check it. Then how does creation start? You know the famous. That's what we were just breaking down. It's creation. The background of this is the essence of creation. What you see in the background, the constellations, that's creation. That has no beginning, no end. The angels, us, the etherians, is all subjected to that same background. The endless of Jehovah's creation. All was, all is, all shall ever be. That's an example of that. This is an example of that. Not the vortex, because the vortex is a product of creation. But this would be an example of the all. See that? You can't fathom that. You can't put a pinpoint on when this shit began. Can't no angel or no human sufficiently high enough or wise enough can tell you when creation started. For each dot is a goddamn vortex. And then when you travel and move through, it continues to be endless. There is no beginning and ending to this shit. You're going to be traveling through creation for you can't even put a number on it. You can't even say eternity. There is no beginning and ending to creation. So when you come into creation and observe creation, there is no beginning and ending to this shit. All you understand is the function of creation, how things are generated and created, inhabited, and then dissipated, and then it starts all over again. But this process has been going on since who knows. That's why I say the same way we sit here, look at this picture and see creation. We can't sit there and say, oh, well, creation started with this star, and from this star came about. We can't do that. Can't no man, no angel sit here and tell you when creation started. The Big Bang Theory, nigga, throw that shit in the garbage. You might as well throw the Big Bang Theory in the garbage. There is no Big Bang Theory. You can't put a pinpoint on this shit. You can't put a pinpoint when the Big Bang started and you got all this shit going on. Talk about the universe is expanding. Nigga, there are multi-universes. Universe means one universe. One vortex. A universe is this. This is a universe right here. This is a universe. Right here. That's a universe. That's one universe. That's just a vortex. But you have many universes. Thus I create and dissipate some on the stars. So yeah, you can't pinpoint when the shit began. Ain't no beginning and ending to this shit. You're going to come into creation and be beholden to creator's creation like everybody else. Even the angels. Even the angels. That's why in the book of Fragment Patty, let me get that verse. When that etherian angel was telling, when a high raised etherian angel came to Fragment Patty and like, yo, first they're going to want to be this, then they're going to want to be that. And they want to be an up-T vein. It's like, yo, they can't fathom creator. Because we following the Bible, we get this illusion that we're going to see the creator one day. We get this illusion and feel that we're going to say, oh, there go Yahuwah. Finally, we get to see him. No. You've been bamboozled again. You will never see creator. You will never come to a time when you're going to be like, look, there go the creator. Woo! After 10 million years, we finally got to see him. Nope, it don't work like that. If you think it work like that, boy, you in for a rude goddamn awakening. You in for a rude awakening, I'll tell you that. Let me find this verse where the angels describe Yahuwah continually. Like, nigga, you can't put a cap on this God. I'm in the wrong book, Fragment Patty. Yeah, family. So you can't put a cap on creation. Look at that. You can't pinpoint and say when this shit started. Look at that. If Jehovah was like, all right, which one, where it started at? You can't answer that. Can't no angel answer that. Any angel claiming to answer that is a liar. Is a liar. Let me see if I can find this verse. Hold tight. Everybody, hold tight. You can't fathom creator. You trying to tell me your man created all this shit in 6 days? Matter of fact, in one day, because you remember, according to the Bible, God created the heaven, the sun, moon, and stars on the 4th day. So in one day, he did all that. Come on, man. You see how we just broke down creation and now we coming into the 6 day fairy tale? Well, ain't no comparison, man. Ain't no comparison. Yeah, man. Shit run deep. See if I can find this joint real quick. Mm-hmm. Yes, family. You can't fathom creation. Run the rhythm. They can't fathom creation, family. Find it in this one. Yeah, but it's different than Waspies. It's a blood clot vibes. All right, so we're going to go to the Book of Fragment Patty, chapter 17, verse 7. I'm going to go for 17, verse 7. Yes, but find the vibes. Me find the vibes. All right. Book of Fragment Patty, chapter 17. Let's get it. It's a blood clot vibes. So check it, right? Now this is in the Book of Fragment Patty, chapter 17. Now this is when Fragment Patty come across another etherian angel of high rank, and they get to talking about, you know what I mean, each other's travels. But it's a part where it describes, you know, the angel just give a rundown. But like I was coming back to this picture to show how, you know what I mean, the creator is ever present. There is no beginning and end to creation. You can't put a pinpoint on when this shit began. You see what I'm saying? So here's a confession by the angel saying the same thing. His name is C2. And they're having a discussion, but let me come down to the nitty gritty. I'll start from verse 6. It states, of atmospherian worlds, we have passed more than 90,000, some of them larger than the vortex of this red star, and capable of providing homes to trillions of inhabitants. And yet, on many of them, there were no people. So this is just the high-raised etherian angel telling Fragment Patty how many worlds they traveled prior to them coming to each other's, talking to each other, right? But notice he says they passed through 90,000. Look, he said of atmospherian worlds, we passed through 90,000. Look at this picture. Look at that. That look like 90,000 right there. Just imagine niggas passed through 90,000 of these worlds in travel now. And then he described that some of them larger than the vortex of this red star. The red star is referring to the earth. So he says some of them, their vortex are larger than the earth. Talking about their vortices. And then it states what? And capable of providing homes for trillions of inhabitants. Look at that. And yet many of them, look what that. And yet many of them were no people. So look at that. That's like whole planets full of nourishing vegetables and ain't nobody there. You know what I mean? You know, like when you drive to certain subdivisions, new homes, and they be sitting there for years and ain't nobody living there. It's just there. It's like You got spots in the cosmos that's inhabitable, that could inhabit trillions, millions of people, and ain't nobody there. See that? Check this out. Thus they discoursed on the size and wonder of Jehovah's creation. Now let me hold that thought right there. Look what this says. Thus they discoursed on the size and wonder of Jehovah's kingdom. Now you remember when we read in the book of Thor 1:14. Let me get this precept right quick to show you the difference. Where that? Right there. Now, you remember when we read this earlier, right? Where it states right here. In the book of Thor, son of Jehovah, chapter 1, verse 13, it states, the spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation. Let's read that again. The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation. But look what it states here. Look how these niggas conversing though. Look what it states. Thus they discoursed on the size and wonder of Jehovah's kingdoms. But look here. The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation. While over here, thus they discoursed on the size and wonder of Jehovah's kingdom. The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation. The reason you're kept in ignorance, why? Because you're following these false gods and false lords. If you wasn't following these false gods and false lords, you'll be what? Thus they discourse on the size and wonder of Jehovah's kingdoms. See, being that you niggas is caught up in these false gods and you only think the earth is the all highest, the new Jerusalem coming down from heaven to earth, and you're going to be remaining on earth for the rest of your days, you're captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah's vast creation, while we over here trying to tell you about the size and wonder of Jehovah's kingdoms. See that? So again, let's read that verse. Thus they discourse on the size and wonder of Jehovah's kingdom, but their numbers and descriptions only the gods themselves could comprehend. Look at that. See that? Only the gods could comprehend. Look, shit like this. These niggas get to calculate, certain worlds they done been through, and we looking over there like, huh? Because these are calculations that only the gods can comprehend, because we haven't experienced being in the realm of creation and cosmology on that level as these gods. Thus they discourse on the size and wonder of Jehovah's creation, but their numbers and descriptions only the gods themselves could comprehend. They were so vast, and when they had nearly concluded, Cetus himself and Eon marked. So this is what I was getting at right here. This is the purpose of me finding this verse, to read this verse right here. This is the summary. He states, the mortal's desire to become a spirit. Then his ambition is to become an etherian. Next, an Orion. Next, an Nirvanian. Next, an Otine. And then to travel as eons in the survey of magnitude. So to travel now. This is the traveling of the survey of the magnitude. This is the magnitude of creation, and you're traveling. You're just a goddamn speckle traveling in this vast magnitude of creation. So again, it states right here, what? And then to travel as eons in the surveys of magnitude. But those ahead still call to us to hasten, because the glories ahead are still what? More surpassing and magnificent. Who then can approach the unapproachable? All highest. He who fashioned the plan of all creations. Who is there that is not swallowed up with the devotion and awe of him who is ever present? That extends beyond all limits. Our Father Jehovah. This extends beyond all limits. There is no limit to this shit. This is beyond limits. Huh? So this is the highlights here. The highlight of this verse is the surveyors of the magnitude. You're going to be traveling this shit for eternity. Ain't no ending. Look at all these billions and trillions of stars. You can't even put a number on it. It says numbers the gods can only comprehend. So you have all eternity to travel to each one of these stars and see what the hell going on with them, investigating creation. So you're going to be surveying. And then it states what? But those still ahead call us to hasten, because what? The glories ahead are still more surpassing and magnificent. So as you travel, the shit just going to get more magnificent as you surpass and continue to move forward, moving on. And then it says, who then can approach the unapproachable? Huh? Who then can approach the unapproachable? This is the unapproachable. How do you approach this? How do you sit there and say, oh, there go the creator? What? Where? Where is he? Where his head from his foot at? Huh? Where the head of the creator at? Where his arm at? Where his legs? Where his toe at? You can't put a finger on creator. Unfathomable. That's why it states, who then can approach the unapproachable? Huh? Who can approach the unapproachable? These false gods over here playing games trying to acting like they could approach the unapproachable. False gods. But who can approach the unapproachable? Huh? The all highest. The all highest. The all high. Ain't no ceiling to this shit. The all highest, meaning this shit continues to go. This shit is forever all. He who fashioned the plan of all creation. What is the fashion of all creation? Let's show the fashion of all creation. What is the fashion of all creation? These vortices. See that? The vortex is the fashion of all creation. What does it state? He who fashioned the plan of all creation. See, when you see that he, you thinking it's the damn man. Let's clarify that real quick. Let's clarify that he. What it states right there? Huh? What it states? All was, all is, all shall ever be. The all spoken motion was, and is, and ever shall be. Being positive was called what? He. Huh? Called what? He. What did it state right here? He who fashioned the plan of all creation. What did the OSB say over here? He and him. The all motion was his speech. So who is he? Who is he? He is all motion. So what does it say here? The all motion who fashioned the plan of all creation. What is the plan of all creation? Right here, the vortex. That's creator and create in motion. See that? We ain't making this shit up. We ain't making this shit up. So when we talk about he, we're not talking about no damn man floating in space. We're talking about the all motion. So he who fashioned the plan of all creation, who is there that is not swallowed up? See that? Who is there that is not swallowed up with the devotion and the we of him? Who is him? This is creator. Who is not swallowed up by this shit? Who could fathom that? And then it states again, who is it there that is not swallowed up with the devotion and the we of him? First it stated he at the beginning of the sentence, and now it's stating him. What did the OSB say? He and him is what? The all motion. So when you see he and him, we ain't talking about no goddamn man. We talking about motion. We talking about this shit right here, the fucking vortex. That's the plan of creation. Huh? He who fashioned the plan of creation, who is there that is not swallowed up with devotion and the we of him? Who is what? Who is what? Ever present. This shit is ever present. See that? See these vortexes? These vortexes are each one of these little dots is a vortex. endless vortices in creation, endless worlds that are inhabitable and uninhabitable in creation, swallowed up by the Creator's creation. That's how niggas gonna be looking when they find out the truth. See that? Niggas gonna have to pair. If niggas don't get it right, they gonna have that face right there, that pine all heaven face. Huh? That I shit on myself face. If niggas don't get this shit, if they keep following this nigga right, if they keep following these false gods and false lords, who's what? Keeping them captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation. Y'all keep following them niggas. While we explaining this creation to you, we demonstrating Creator. We letting you know that there's verses in here where high-raised angels are letting you know that you can't fathom Creator. That's why it states, who can approach the unapproachable? Huh? That's it. Who can approach the unapproachable? All highest. He who fashioned the plan of all creation. Who is there that is not swallowed up with devotion and awe of him who is ever present, that extends beyond all limit, our Father Jehovah. See how Jehovah is describing the Awaspi? Ain't no nigga floating around. The whole Jehovah is described as a force, a all force. All is, all shall ever be is force, vortex. Vortex is a force. When Jehovah is in motion, he is a force to be reckoned with. Thus I create, thus I dissipate. Planets, sun, moon, and stars. Give me a one in the chat if you get this understanding, family. You know how we do. Run the rhythm. Yes, sir. Let me light up this spliff stuff. Light up this spliff stuff. You know how we do. It's a blood clot vibe. Want to know what they learned? Yes, family. Vibes are going. They continue to explore and educate themselves in Jehovah's creation. It's an endless field of education. It's a vibe. It's a blood clot vibes. Run the rhythm. It's some blood clot vibes. go to Book of Apollo 10:11. Book of Apollo 10:11. Book of Apollo, son of Jehovah, chapter 10, verse 11, it states, as the earth is opaque with transparent vortex around it, so the opposite is the case regarding the structure of an etherian advanzit, which is basically a UFO spaceship, being light and inhabitable within as well as without, like the etherian worlds in the firmament. As Jehovah makes worlds and send them forth in the places of his firmament, so in imitation of him, his etherian gods, hold up, this is an answer to the question at hand. Take that off. This is what they're doing. They continually learning. They continually learning. As Jehovah make worlds and send them forth in the places of his firmament, so in imitation of him, his etherian gods and goddesses make advanzits, spaceships, to travel space from star to star, from one etherian region to another. Great in wisdom and power are Jehovah's etherian gods and goddesses, and yet they too were once only men and women with corporeal bodies. So they're letting us know that these high-raised angels that can travel from star to star in these big-ass spaceships were once human beings like us. That's what Jehovah is telling you. That's the secret about creation. That all these motherfuckers in creation start off with physical bodies like us. But notice it's stated right here. He says his etherian gods and goddesses make advanzits to transverse space from star to star, from one etherian region to another. Now, when we come back to this picture here, we come back to this here, all these stars are worlds, endless worlds. Endless worlds you're looking at right there, right? Endless worlds. You can't put a top on this. If you was to go straight and continue to go straight, it's just going to continue to become more and more deeper in the endless worlds, from region to star region. So they're going to go from this star to this star to this star. Just imagine you go from star to star in the vastness of all this. There is no ending to this shit. You're just going to have, a knowledge of all these stars. But just imagine, okay, say you learn all these stars in this region right here. So you would need etherian angel to have the knowledge of all these stars. But then there's a whole nother set of cluster of stars and another set of the cosmos that's just as vast as this, that you are just like starting over from scratch again. See that? No beginning, no ending to this shit. Who then can approach the unapproachable? We're coming back here. His etherian gods and goddesses make advanzits to transvert space from star to star and from one etherian region to another. See that? So that's what we're going to be doing. Great in wisdom and power are Jehovah's etherian gods. Because you got to have some goddamn greatness to transvert these places. You know what I mean? We don't know nothing. We don't even have a sense of direction of this shit. All we seen is just a whole bunch of constellations of stars. But you have some angels that look at this and read this as a roadmap. Oh, this is over here, boom, boom, boom. We've been all over here in this region, but we ain't explored this region over here. But to get to over here, you got to ride this. They know that shit. They know this shit like a roadmap. While we look at this shit in confusion. Don't know what the hell going on. But then the key point states, yet they too were once only men and women with corporeal bodies. So they letting you know. They letting you know that these etherian angels is your ass. One-time people. Jehovah said, I have given power to the spirits of the newly dead to clothe themselves from the atmosphere with corporeal semblance of flesh. See that? And blood, and to my exalted angels, and to my exalted atmospherian angels, I have given power to clothe themselves from eth in forms of light. But to my exalted etherian angels, I have given power to clothe their host with ships of fire and activans and edavansits. Spaceship. These niggas clothing themselves as whole body ships. These niggas on some Transformer shit. Niggas on a Optimus Prime shit. Niggas become Etherians and turn Optimus Prime on niggas. Niggas form into a car or form into a ship and start flying on your ass. The Markaba, niggas turning the Markabas on your ass. Them ethers is like the Markabas, nigga. Them niggas forming into the ships. Look at this. Siamad was a small woman, dark. Huh? Dark. It's a black woman they talking about in the Owaspi. A goddess. Look at that. Siamad was a small woman, an iron, a dark iron, and of deep love and most jubilant goddess. See that? See that female goddess? A dark woman. Oh, the drunks and the drunks, the drunks are the stupid people. Nigga, we talking about etherian goddess that are dark skinned. Look at that. Siamad looked out from the clusters of central stars. The ornament of the throne within the ship to see the hosts who were assembled beneath, and joyously clapped her hands with delight, at which she was saluted by Apollo and Phaedra and by God and his lords. So this is talking about them etherian goddesses and gods. You know what I mean? Shit deep, yo. Yes, family. Run the rhythm. We vibing out, family. Malachi Maccabee and the Billy. You know how we dilly. We just vibing out. Open session. That's right. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. All of them goddamn stars. It's mansions. Kingdoms in the ether. It's a blood clot vibes. So what we're showing you is that the creator is unfathomable. You can't fathom the creator. Well, in your Bible, they got you believe in a man that came down and stood on top of a mountain and came to Moses and gave Moses commandments to give to the children of Israel. And you've been taught that that man on that mountain, that God that came down is supposed to be the Most High Creator. When we just described the creator as being the unapproachable, unfathomable, ever present, everywhere present. So you keep following that God?
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To pine oil heaven.
That's when niggas is headed to pine oil heaven if niggas don't get it right. We trying to spare you, my niggas, my nigglets. We trying to spare y'all. We trying to spare y'all the headache. Trying to spare you the headache of going into them hellfires. It's a blood clot vibes. Run the rhythm. Let's get the science. The blood clot vibes. Get that. Let's get that. Show y'all the spiritual science in the Owaspi, you know what I mean? Let's get that. Cosmo, let's get that. 412. Now, in reference to founding an giant inhabitable in Etheria, this account is rendered to mortals and angels of the lower heavens. The etherians gather up the atomic elements floating amidst the etheric waves. So they're gathering up atomic elements. Elements are what? Minerals. These are gases. And giving them axial motion, they propel them forth on their way. The atomic elements aggregate until, from the size of a mite, the aggregation grows as large as a whole earth. But this world is inhabitable within and on its surface by the spirits of the dead, the angels. Jehovah said, in the same way that the solid earth, the stars, and moon all float in the unseen firmament, so do atomic parts to all things float in the eth. See that? As the earth is to the air and the ether above, so is an atom of copper to the etheric solution. See that? So what it's saying you that everything is the air, the ether is glued. It seems separate due to the atomic elements, the corporeal planets, sun, moon, and stars. It looked like we're separate, but the unseen is a big glue, a big air, ever present, this big plasma, etheric plasma that is unseen, that is the glue to everything in creation. So it's like looking at this picture here. It's the ether is the glue to everything here. Everything looks departmentalized and separate, but the unseen force is the glue to this whole shit. While you thinking this star over here is separate from this star, the unseen glue is connecting this whole shit. That's why I state Jehovah said, in the same way that the solid earth and the stars and moon all float in the unseen firmament, the unseen make it all glue, so do atomic parts of all things float in the ether. As the earth is to the air and the ether above, so is an atom of copper to the etheric solution. Yes, yes, yes. Check this out. Jehovah said, do not think, O man, that there is only one member in my person, and that different conditions and states of that one compromise my universe. The foolish man has said, the blood is the flesh and bones, and the flesh and bones are simply a state of blood. But he does not see that I do not make flesh out of blood, but out of that which the blood carries. In the same way, I carry the corpor of my person in the ether of my being. See that? So Owaski speaks on levels that'll have you pondering and thinking. You dig? But yeah, man, we just chopping it up. There's so many beautiful verses in the Owaski. You could just start and read everywhere, anywhere. And that shit'll be dope. Look at this. The photosphere was flat to the north and south, but oval east and west. The opening were on the flat side, talking about the ship, with passages through. The crescent described a circle of 3,400 miles, and the depths of the heart north and south was 300 miles. The pillars of fire that ascended from the midst were 1,700 miles high. Look at these numbers. Look at the scale of these numbers that they describing these goddamn spaceships. Huh? Look at that. 1,700 miles high? Come on now. That's beyond our goddamn comprehension of this trying to even look at something on that scale. Can you imagine looking at something that's 1,700 miles pointing upward in the sky? How awful that'll look, how like, god damn. The stars within the photosphere were provided within 5 points. Each star had 1 million chambers. 1 million chambers. And each chamber was allotted to the inhabitation of one bridegroom or bridegroom. And there were 7,000 of these star chambers. Look at that. 7,000 of these star chambers. And each star had 1 million chambers. See that? So you see that? Owaski describes you, is giving you descriptive, is describing the etherian angels and the etherian ships and the ether in general in great detail. Look at this. The framework was crystalline, both opaque and transparent, and of all possible colors, shades, and tints. Now, besides the stars and their chambers, the base of the crescent was provided with a large social hall, which, aside from accommodating others, was sufficient for and occupied by 1 million musicians. Look at that. This is the dance floor, the social hall. When niggas socializing. This is within a spaceship. This is within the craft. This is just to travel to another star. All this going on in the travel. This is like a cruise ship. You know when you go on a cruise, a 7-day cruise? Before you reach your destination, all this going on a cruise ship. Before you even get to the destination. God had knowledge of sea wings coming and had commanded information to be sent throughout atmosphere and to the Lords located on earth, inviting all who choose to come and witness the ascent. This is a harvest, an ascension. And besides the brides and bridegrooms, 2 billion angels came, many not yet delivered from the first resurrection. Look at that. Niggas who wasn't even delivered from the first resurrection had the privilege to go see the ascension of the brides and bridegrooms. So if they wasn't delivered yet, after they see this shit, them niggas gonna be right up in that first resurrection trying to get that shit in order. Look. And she ascended the throne and performed the marriage rites for the 6 billion. After that, a recreation time of 1 day was proclaimed in Gaul, during which the atmospherians and the etherians mingled freely together. Y'all know when I be saying that, When we go on our breaks, what I say is the recreational time, when the atmospherians and etherians mingled, conversing about Jehovah's creation. You remember when I say that? There you go in the verse. Look, on the day following, Thor accompanied Sea-Wing into her ship, and their host went into also, being nearly 7 billion. And then, amid a rain of etherian flowers, Sea-Wing started her fire ship upward. See that? They're talking about ships. And God and his host remained in Gual, saluted in the sign of Jehovah forever, which was properly answered by the ascending billions. See, they ascending to the etherian realms. This is a harvest. Then the great ship turned on its axis, rising and turning higher and higher. And in a little while, only an ascending star was seen. And then it disappeared into the distance. It disappeared into the distance. See that? Them niggas got the hell up out of here. Pew! What movie was that? Let me see right quick. What movie was that? The Knowing with Nicolas Cage. Them kids descended. Yeah, I remember the Knowing when them kids descended in them ships. Remember that scene when they got them lifted up in them ships? Them niggas gonna be never having the scenes you want. Let's see. Damn, they ain't got the clip. It's that clip when they was lifting off the planet, when they showed all the ships lifting off the planet. There you go. It's getting closer. But if you've seen the movie The Knowing, it's a scene where it shows the planet and all the ships rising off the planet. Let me see if that will come up. Oh, man, let me see. But this is the part when they was descending down after the destruction. But damn. But yeah. But it's a part when they ascended up and it showed the ships rising, going into the cosmos. You know what I mean? So that was comparison to this one. It says, then the great ship turned on its axis, rising and turning higher and higher. Then a little while, only a ascending star was seen. Then it disappeared in the distance. See that? Thus Thor fulfilled in dawn his great mission to the earth and her heavens. That's the mission of these angels, to help the harvest, raise the people. Again, the earth and her heavens prospered for another season of 200 years. And in the next dawn, in the next Dan, there were 5 billion souls delivered. And new gods and new lords succeeded, who also prospered, but not as well. The next harvest was 4 billion. So if you notice, during an arc cycle of 3,000 years, it may reach a high point and the numbers will start dropping towards the ending of the arc cycle. But look what it states. But once again, false lords and false gods began to set up kingdoms of their own in heaven, in the cities of mortals. Wait a minute. It said, now, keep in mind, it's all about ascension with true God. They're not trying to set up no kingdom to let you worship them. You ain't supposed to be worshiping no gods. Gods ain't going to tell you to worship them. They're going to tell you to worship Creator. So with that, God set up heavenly kingdoms and cities. Who do that? Your biblical God did that. God El did that. See that? Who was El? What it states? What it states about El? El is the leader of all Canaanite gods, the creator. So he's a city god. What did the Owaspi say right here? Look at that. Right here. But once again, false lords and false gods began to set up kingdoms of their own in heaven, in the city of mortals. Look at that. Let's get that real quick. You know, we like to break the shit down, slow it down a little bit. But once again, false lords and false gods began to set up kingdoms of their own in heaven and in the cities of mortals. This picture right here is in the city of mortals. What city of mortals? The city of Canaan. Setting up his heavenly kingdom, getting the Canaanites to worship the god El as the creator. See how these false gods work? See how deceptive these motherfuckers could be? What did this say right here? What did it say right here? Look at this. This is a precept. Glad I ain't erased this shit. The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation, and made to bow down in adoration and worship to who? The false gods and false lords. Made to bow down in adoration to the false gods and false lords. What it states? But once again, false gods and false lords begin to set up kingdoms of their own in heaven, in the cities of mortals. And what happened? And made to bow down in adoration and worship to the false gods and false lords. Look at that. How many? Look, they're worshiping the false gods and the false lords right here. Maybe your Canaanite god El, claiming to be the creator. Within your city, this nigga moved up on the block. This nigga came down from heaven, moved up on the block. You know when you hustling in the streets and niggas move up on your territory and you're like, yo, who these niggas? Your God left heaven to come down to earth to move in up on the land of Canaan and set up shop. Like, what's good, nigga? I'm here. I'm your God, nigga. Bow down and worship me. That's what the fuck going on. Once again, false gods and false lords and false gods began to set up kingdoms of their own in heaven and in the city of mortals, made to bow down in adoration and worship to the false gods and false lords, and false lords and false gods. And look, and these in turn, being contiguous to the mortals, inspire them to the same worship. See that? You being inspired to the same worship because you inspired by these false gods who done set up shop in your block. Look what it states. And lo and behold, everyone called themselves either Thor or Apollo, and the spirits who manifested in the temples and for the oracles all gave one of these names. And mortals who were obsessed believed themselves to be the reincarnation of Thor, Apollo, or Thor. How many niggas walking around talking about the reincarnation of Christ? The reincarnation of John, the reincarnation of Elijah. The obsessed spirits calling themselves by the names. Look what's stated. Others, more intelligent, said, did the prophets not foretell that there was to be a second coming of Apollo? And are these spirits who appeared through the Sargos not the very person? Don't that sound like some first century shit? When they talked about the second coming of Jesus, and the spirits and the angels started appearing, and the graves, the graves were open, and the spirits came out the graves and was walking among the living. These false prophecies was already tried thousands of years ago. So they're talking about the second coming of Apollo. Look what it stated. The obsessing spirits call themselves by these names. But check what it stated here. Look. It says others more intelligent. So you got the dumbed down. But then he says others more intelligent. These are your Hebrew Israelites who got a little bit more understanding of scripture compared to your dumbed down Bible believers who really don't know much other than Jesus loves. So it says the more intelligent said, did the prophets not foretell? This is the Hebrew Israelites. These are your Nathaniels, your Zaboks, your General Johannes, your goddamn Tazariaks. These are the more intelligent Bible readers. Did the prophets not foretell that there was to be a second coming of Christ, in this case Apollo? And are these spirits who appear through the Sargos not the very person? See that? Ain't y'all niggas waiting on the second coming of Christ? Hmm? Look what it states. Look what it states. So great became the superstition of the nations of the earth that in the fall of a leaf they found proof of the second coming of Apollo or Thor. Look at that. Look at that, just that alone. That's some Hebrew Israelites today. A leaf will fall off a tree and them niggas will find a way to make prophecy out of that shit. Because them niggas is caught up in the superstition of the second coming. A fucking fairy tale, a fallacy that's not going to happen. So great became the superstition of the nations of the earth that in the fall of a leaf, they found proof of the second coming of Apollo or Thor. So when that leaf fell, they started prophesizing. It started looking like this guy. Them niggas like, yo, them nigga like, yo, son, a leaf fell. That's the sign of the second coming, yo. Yo, let the rocks fall over us so we don't see he who sits on the throne. The leaf fell off the tree. That's a sign of the second coming of the Messiah. Niggas got the pond all heaven face because they know they've been sinning. And these, in turn, in contiguity to morals, inspire them to the same worship, to the same bullshit. So great became the superstition of the nations of the earth that in the fall of a leaf they found proof of the second coming of goddamn Jesus Christ or Yahshua, Apollo or Thor. Look at this. Many of the spirits deserted the second resurrection in heaven and returned to the earth to wait for information concerning the coming event, as they supposed though there was no event coming. Though there was no event coming. These niggas then hyped themselves up based off of some superstition of a second coming. These niggas done left the second resurrection, meaning the second heaven, deserted that shit. They became fallen angels because they returned to the earth. They fell from their higher state. They've come into the earth, waiting on information concerning a second coming. That's like all these Israelites waiting for the second coming of the Messiah. These Israelites in heaven done left they highest state, came to the earth, waiting on information of a second coming. And look what Jehovah say. Jehovah nails this shit in a coffin. Creator nails this shit. Look what Jehovah say. Creator gang. Jehovah said, all corporeal worlds pass through the age of too much belief, as I give man judgment so that he could examine and weigh a matter. So does he run into unbelief. Then my angels go to him and show him where he believes too little. But lo, he goes to the other extreme, believing all things and not using his judgment. That's what we're trying to say to you niggas. You niggas ain't using your judgment. You just running around here believing there's going to be a second coming of the Messiah when there is not going to be a second coming. Let's show that real quick. Let's get that precept. Let's get that precept. Let's go to the book of S, daughter of Jehovah. Let's go to there. Let's get that precept. Let's get that precept. Let's get that precept. Let's get that precept. Book of S, daughter of Jehovah, chapter 1, verse 10. Hold on. Let me get that. Make sure I'm. So let's get that precept. For they will judge man's eyes with man's understanding, not comprehending judgment. All right, let me read that from the top. All right. Book of S, daughter of Jehovah, chapter 1, verse 10. For they will judge with man's eyes and with men's understanding, not comprehending the magnificence of the plans of my resurrection, which I provided to them through my gods and goddesses. As in former cycles, I sent to the nations separately. So in Cosmon, I shall not send separately, but to the whole world. As in former cycles, I sent leaders and commanding gods. So in Cosmon, I shall not send either an earthly leader or a worshipful God or Lord. you say Jesus Christ is Lord. In Cosmon, what? I shall not send that. Here's the difference. When man was in great darkness, I sent saviors and deliverers to him. And my saviors taught man by certain commandments and by prayers how he should live to be saved from sin. But look here. But in Cosmon, I shall not send a savior or an archangel with the loud sounding trumpet, but I will come to man's understanding through the light of my own wisdom. And man shall interpret my words as I speak to his own soul, and such shall be his sacred words. So we're not dealing with a second coming. The second coming, you could throw it out the window. But here, these niggas is running around waiting on the second coming at the fall of a leaf. And then Jehovah says, all corporeal worlds pass through the age of too much belief. As I give man judgment so that he could examine and weigh a matter, so does he run into unbelief. Then my angels go to him and show him where he believes too little. But lo, he goes to the other extreme, believing all things and not using his judgment. See that? God said, why will men and angels not be patient and wait till a matter is proven meritoriously before they pursue it to extremes? The same sun shines, the same stars stand in the heavens, and the earth travels steadily on her way. Yes, her winds blow, her summers and winters come as in ancient times. Yet man set up a notion that a great wonder is near at hand, but no wonder comes, and nothing new is near. See that? You niggas is running around hyping yourself up about a second coming that ain't gonna come. You've been bamboozled by the false gods. Huh? How shall I restrain them, O Jehovah? Their desire for Jesus, Apollo, called down millions of spirits from my place of resurrection, and they fall in trials and hardships and become suitable prey for the designing false gods and false lords. See that? False gods and false lords. What we read right here? What we read right here? The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation, and made to bow down in adoration and worship to false lords and false gods, and these in return, being contiguity to mortals, inspire them to the same worship which fits them at the time of their death to fall as slaves into the dominion of him whom they worshipped. See that? This is what we're showing you. This is what we're showing you. What Jehovah said, how will I restrain them, O Jehovah? Their desire for Jesus, their desire for these false gods. And with their desire for these false gods, for their desire of Jesus, they call down millions of spirits from my places of resurrection. And they fall in trials and hardships and become suitable prey for the designing false gods and false lords. See that? See that? But no other salutation came other than echoes from God's own word. So God and his lords bewail the darkness of the earth and her heavens. The only frustration you find God doing in the Owaspi is bewailing. That's his only frustration in the Owaspi is bewailing. Years ago, I was supposed to do a video called The Bewailing of God. I may still do it, where I just go through the Owaspi and show how God bewails. He doesn't get frustrated, he doesn't get angry, but he cries out because his heavenly kingdom is falling apart and it's under his watch. You dig? But look what Jaja say. But high up in the etherian heavens came the light of Yahuwah, came the voice of Yahuwah saying, hear your creator. See that? Oh, ye gods and goddesses. See how that is worded? Behold the magnitude of my works. I do not labor for the profit of this man, Israel, or that man, Esau, Ham. Neither for this people, Israel, or that people, Amalek. nor for that inhabitant, Canaan, or one star, earth, or one heaven, Jerusalem, but for the glory of millions of stars and millions of heavens. See, you can't contain creator. You can't dictate creator who he could select. Creator selects the whole goddamn everybody. You just mad at the white man because he put us in slavery. Or you just mad at this person, this nation because they did that. Well, nigga, fight them. Click up and goddamn return the favor, nigga. Ain't nobody stopping nobody. Ain't no rules to this shit. Verse 10. Does one corporeal man not bewail a shower of rain, and yet his neighbor rejoice because of it? One man prays for sunshine, another for shade. Do not think that I labor for each one separately. See that? But for the perfection of the whole. For what reason then shall the God of the earth and his lords bewail the darkness that falls on the earth at this time? You see how Jehovah read? See how Jehovah talk? Look what Jehovah say. I have prepared places of darkness in the etherian firmament, and places of light, and my corporeal worlds must travel through them, for so I created them. And these places of darkness and these places of light are like changes of seasons for my harvest. See that? So you got to deal with the light and darkness. It ain't always going to be all, hunky-dory. There's going to be some hardships on your watch as God. The same way we have hardships in life now. Now the earth passes into deep darkness, and I fructify the races of men in a new corporeal growth for things that shall come afterward. See that? As they absorb from the aja of my place in this age, so also do their souls become full of superstition and darkness. And that's going into the ending of the book of Thor. But you know what I mean? The OWASP is a beautiful read, yo. Killing the night at Rise Club. Describing them etherian gods and goddesses. It survives. You done no kid. It's a blood clot vibes. Yes, family, we vibing out, yeah? We vibing out now. We gonna vibe it on out. You know how we do. We bring the lessons through. And we vibe these things on out. You know how we do. It's a blood clot vibes. Yes, family. An open session, freestyle session. You know what I mean? No particular topic. We just going in off the top of the dome. You know how we do. We gonna ride it out, family. We gonna go ahead and ride it out. We gonna push out into the cosmos. Cause ain't no beginning and ending to this shit we call creation. This thing we call life. It's an endless experience that we experience. So with that, your boy /Slow is out. Salute to the guys and goddess creating gang already.